Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about narrative expectations and kind of how Kaisa and the upcoming Void rewrites play into that. Now, if you guys aren't aware, Riot have been talking quite a bit about Kaisa and the Void on the forums right now, specifically to address a lot of the player backlash that has happened as a result of Kaisa's reveal and the descriptions we have from her already. Now, if you've been following my blog content at all, you already know my thoughts on Kaisa. I think she's a tremendous disappointment from a whole bunch of standpoints, but specifically from a narrative standpoint, because she doesn't fit in with anything we know about the Void. Specifically, her level of corruption in particular. Unless she fell into the Void and directly into her second skin at the same exact time, there's no reason to assume she shouldn't be corrupted at all. Kassadin barely dipped a toe in the Void, and he's now purple and has a breathing mask and may have lost his ability to walk. Malzahar's skin is blue, and he gained a third eye after just peering upon the Void. Jax is purple, has 3 fingers, has multiple eyes. All these kinds of things are hallmarks and traits of Void corruption. And now, if Kaisa lived in there for literal years, I have to assume something would have happened. Even if she was only there for a very brief period of time before finding her second suit, something still should have changed beyond just the very cosmetic purple markings on her face. Something should have been done. And so her appearance is a tremendous disappointment. Now, Riot have jumped on the forums to basically say, you know, there is going to be more Void lore coming up. Obviously, we'll get Kaisa's full lore at some point, so we'll get to know what her story is and why she may or may not look like she's been corrupted at all. But Reeve has also mentioned over on the forums that more Void lore will be coming, and he also says that the Void is probably different than most people currently think it is, but that should be revealed soon. I will have the full thread linked down in the description below if you wanted to read the rest of his comments. But so, my biggest issue is that it kind of goes against player expectations to make changes like this. And now Riot have done this before, where they take somebody and they completely change who they are or what players thought they were because Riot had a better direction that they wanted to take them in. Trundle, I think, is a good example of this, where Trundle almost completely changed. I think his character is still the same, but his retheming from Plague Troll to Frost Troll was definitely a huge change, and it kind of threw a lot of people when it originally happened. And my biggest issue is that this kind of implies that Riot have a different direction for the Void than most players have thought of. And that is totally within Riot's bounds to do that. Obviously, they are the content creators. They get to do whatever they want with their IP. But I think that there's a certain misunderstanding if Riot were to go in a direction that the community hadn't thought of at all and that the community didn't expect. Now, on one hand, you have the advantage of maybe that direction is better than the community had thought, especially with the Noxus lore updates. A lot of people had this false assumption that that Noxus was just plain evil and wanted to rule the world, and I think that the Noxus lore update kind of exemplified the traits of Noxus that were positive in the old lore and kind of showed that, hey, these guys aren't just cartoonishly bad guys. Now, the issue I have with the Void, though, is that the Void plays very heavily into Lovecraftian and Eldritch sort of themes. The Void is supposed to be this unknowable, unfathomable dimension where giant monstrosities live, and they're constantly looking for a way to invade Runeterra and subsume it and consume it. So, and this all we know from Cho'Gath's bio and from Kassadin's bio, and we know a whole bunch of things about the Void from these bios, and it's kind of cemented the place as sort of an almost living dimension where the Void itself has wants and desires, and just looking upon it is enough to drive even the most stalwart insane. I think that's a really, really cool direction to take it in, and I think that, sure, it might be a little too close to Lovecraft to be completely considered you know, or original, but at the same time, it's a really solid concept, and I think it matches most of what we know about the Void and the Void characters. Now, if Kaisa's lore comes out, and if the Void lore comes out, and the Void is significantly different, I think you're going to have a lot of players upset because you essentially betrayed their expectations. We had this understanding of the Void in the old lore, we had this understanding of what it's like and what the characters are like from the old lore and from sort of the narrative, I guess, when Riot weren't telling stories at all, we kind of built up this idea about it, and Riot have to know what the general community consensus is about the place. So to come out and with a completely different direction, as I think they're going to do, will kind of betray a lot of players trust in Riot, and kind of betray a lot of what people were thinking about it in the first place. And yeah, Riot have done this before plenty of times with champion updates and lore updates and plenty of other things, but I think that the Void in particular is too big for Riot to dramatically change. And I think that because players have such an interest and such an expectation, because we don't know so much about it, so there's a lot of mystery, and I think that Riot have to really make sure that they hit it on the mark. Now, I'm fairly certain that the retcon is going to be that it is a physical place, and they're just a bunch of monsters running around in this random dimension for whatever reason, and it won't feel Eldritch, it won't feel Lovecraftian, and that may be an issue. Now, again, this is all just my assumption. Riot may come out and it's exactly what we thought it was, and that still doesn't explain Kaisa at all, but hopefully her own bio explains all of that. But so, I'm really hoping that Riot basically have done their homework and aren't going to betray the players' trust that they can do things right and that they can do the Void justice, because I think that's a big issue and a big concern with a lot of players, especially in the wake of Kaisa's reveal, where how does this make any sense? This is supposed to be Kassadin's daughter, and she's absolutely nothing that we expected at all, in a bad way. And there are other issues with Kaisa too, but again, I've ranted about that enough on the blog. I'm going to stop talking right there. So, but anyways, those are just kind of my 2 cents. I know this probably wasn't a very coherent video at all, so go ahead and let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below, especially on what your opinions are on the potential Void changes. I know that they are going to be coming, and I'm hoping that it's going to be sort of along the same lines as Demacia, where it just expands on what we already know and doesn't fundamentally rewrite what the place is actually like. So go ahead and let me know what you guys are thinking about it. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. And if you're looking for more Grab Lantern content, you can check out my blog, link down in the description. I upload an article just about each and every single day for your enjoyment. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.